Well, hello. There we are.
What up? What up? What up?
You guys, I think he's on one today. Are you on one today?
On one of what?
That's what I'm trying to find out. What are you on today? Oh my goodness. Hey Instagram.
I'm on live.
You're on live. You are. You're on
Yeah.
live over here on Instagram too. We're just going to move Instagram over just a little bit so we can get you in here. There we go. How y'all doing today, Instagram? So glad that y'all are with us today on the platform. This is our Happy Marriage series. I'm Regina with the Juice Radio and Talk Show, and we're about to share our happy marriage. Are you happy?
What up? What up? What up?
Oh my gosh, it's going to be one of those shows. Oh my goodness. All right, everybody. So glad that y'all are here. We're so excited. Listen, if you saw the title, the question is marriage for everyone or marriage is not for everyone? It's a question. And so we're going to tackle that a little bit as best we can. But we wanted to say hello to all of our subscribers. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. We appreciate you. We also want to say hello to all of our newcomers to the show. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button on our YouTube or Facebook page. If you're on one of our other channels, like my personal Facebook page or our sponsor channel, Truth and Trying Ministries page, we want you to go on over there after the show, of course. Just be reminded, we'll remind you at the end of the show to go on over there to our Truth and Triumph Ministries page, click subscribe with them also. And also, we want you to go on our Juice Radio and Talk Show channel on Facebook and YouTube. Go over there and click like, share, subscribe, follow, notification, all that other good stuff. All right. All right, let's get started with our happy marriage show. It's not a show. Uncle Charles said it's a program.
Mm-hmm.
He said because show is like you pretending to be somebody, you're acting, and he says you guys are never pretending or acting. You guys are real. So he said it's not a show, which is wise wisdom counsel. It's wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Sure enough.
All right, so hey everybody, let's get started. So, babe, the question is, do you
Uh-huh.
think marriage is for everyone?
No, marriage is not for everyone. If you're not going in there with a serious intention of
Mm.
being married and staying married, and you're just going to play house, it's not for you.
Ooh. Ooh. Wait. So you said playhouse. So what do you mean when you say playhouse? What is that? What is that? Clarity, please.
It's a possibility, or it could be that you just love the person or like the person, and you want to get married, or you just do it out of maybe obligation or something to just to please the other person, and after you get into it for a couple of years, you said, "This is not for me."
Oh, now that's the thing right there. You said they get into it for a couple of years. At least they do a couple of years.
Maybe a year, maybe 6 months. Who
Oh,
knows?
wow. Mm-mm.
Some people do it for a couple months. I said, "Oh, this is not for me. I didn't tell you were the. You're not the person I thought you were."
Yeah, I think what people have to realize is what marriage really is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a temporary contract,
Right.
and people want to look at it sometimes as a temporary contract, and they look at it, well, I'm going to go into this, and they don't have the thought of I want to stay in this.
Mm-hmm.
They have the thought of, well, I'm going to go into it because it's comfortable right now, it's going to make her happy, and then I know I got an exit plan. I can
You
I
said
can get out if I
you already
want.
have an exit plan before the marriage was
You got an
started.
exit plan before you got a marriage plan. you know
That's why you got a prenuptial agreement.
Prenuptial agreements in the house. They do. They have the prenups. But I think that a lot of people, when they decide they want to get married and they do it, like you said, spur of the moment, maybe, or they do it and they don't have real meaning of what marriage is. Back even, long time ago in the older days, our
Mm-hmm.
elders' days, marriage was a serious thing.
Right.
It was, I mean, you have to go and make sure that whoever you, right, Holy Spirit, whoever you were dating would be somebody that your family would accept.
Mm-hmm.
That was your first thought. You wouldn't date somebody that you just knew your family was not going to accept.
Right.
You wouldn't do that. And what they would also, the mindset would be, if they were going to date somebody that they knew their family wasn't going to accept, they wouldn't bring them around. They would not bring them around. And marriage was never really a real thought, unless, like, some people, they went through some of the struggles where they're like, well, I really love him and I know my family's not going to like him. Because there's some situations like that happen, especially with interracial couples, back in those days.
Right.
And they were like, I really love this person, but I know my family is not going to accept them. And so they, may have ran off and got married. And but their thought was, man, the struggle that they went through, you knew they were probably going to make sure that marriage worked.
Yeah.
Because all the struggles and trials that they went through, it was not going to be, listen, we just going to do this temporarily. No. But a lot of people back in our elder days,
Right.
they made sure that when they got married, it was everlasting. I mean, they would also say, listen, if we got trials and we got tribulations and we have a fight, we are going to stay married. Divorce is not an option.
Yeah. Yeah, like back in the days, you didn't hear about divorces in the older marriage.
I know.
The husband and the wife might separate, but they never got a divorce.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Way back, man. You be 30 years and they separated, but they did not file for divorce.
That's right.
So if the person passed away at 80 and they say, oh, they're still married, they never got a divorce. You're still a husband and wife, even though you were living together.
They never divorced. And they also, even if they would separate, like you said, from each other, they could be living in separate houses.
Mm-hmm.
They could be living in separate states.
Right. Separate countries.
Separate countries. But they weren't divorcing. They were staying together. And that's amazing. But that's almost to the character of how important it was for them. Listen, we got married.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to get divorced. We're not going to do that. But they did get married. And I guess during their marriage, they realized it didn't work. And so they decided, okay, listen, even though we're married, you go your way, I go my way, but we ain't looking for the divorce attorney.
Right.
And that was something to say also about the dedication. I won't say the vow of marriage because they did separate, but the thought process of how serious they were when they, got married, I would say. But do you think that marriage is for everyone?
Marriage is not for everyone.
What?
And you sometimes you get into it, you think you're in love when you're in lust, and you run and get married just to get married because somebody say, "Oh, you can't live together unless you're married." So just because you might be interested in that person, and you go ahead and you rush to the altar, and then after, as I said, a year or so or something, you said, "Oh, I still want to be out there running around and do other things that I didn't do when I was young. And this is not for me." And then you get into it, and then,
Houston, we got a problem.
Yep, cookies start to crumble.
Yeah. And also, I think a lot of people, when you say like they rush and they go ahead and get married because other people, outside influencers, are telling them to get married. Right. I think the reason why they do that is because a lot of the Christian faith, the religious faith, we oftentimes would tell people, hey, you can't be shacking up.
Right.
You need to go ahead and get married. And people they would push somebody into a marriage.
Right.
And church, you got to take the blame for some of these marriages failing, because we do oftentimes. Right. You push people into a marriage and it ends up ending, bad.
And they're not ready for marriage, and maybe they love the person.
Right.
And just marriage is not into their
future thing.
Really. Yeah, right at the moment. But
yeah.
As Christians, you say, oh, you can't, do ungodly stuff. So people just rush into it, and then
And it
and,
ends
yeah,
up disastrous.
dissolve it real
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah. I like people who will say, listen, I know it may not be for me,
Mhm.
but when you get into a relationship, when you're dating with someone, let that person know. I like when people let the person know, listen, I just want to date. I'm not into the marriage thing right now. Be upfront and honest, because you ever see some people that get into a relationship, one person has marriage on their mind, got books and binders and everything about marriage, and the other person just wants to date,
Mhm.
but they're not having a conversation about, I don't want to get in this. What do you think about people that go into relationships knowing in their mind they never ever want to get married, but then they're dating someone that has the dream and the hopes and the goals of getting married? I mean, what do? They just stay in the relationship?
Well, you gotta come out and tell the truth, like,
Yeah,
and
that's tough.
communicate and say, I love you a lot, but marriage is not something that's on my mind at the moment. And if you want to go forward and be good friends or good, you know, stay together without marriage or something,
Yeah.
and till if things change or if I change my mind or something and something come over me or something, then we think about it. But you don't want to string somebody along, and if somebody is ready to get married, one person and the other person, I think you should come out and be honest and say, that marriage is not for me right now, and let the
Yeah.
person make the decision if you want to walk or
Yeah,
stay.
I don't think it's fair that people string people along when they know they have a desire to get married. And I think what we end up doing, I'm going to speak for people who, I'm going to speak per se as the people that want to get married, and you're dating a person that doesn't want to get married.
Hmm.
When you're in that relationship and it's been made very clear to you that that person does not want to get married, and you stay in the relationship, you
Hmm.
have to understand the outcome is what you made it to be,
Right.
because you understood what was going on. There's an old saying that people use, thank you Holy Spirit, it's absence make the heart grow fonder. If you would do this, instead of you saying, well, we gonna move in together and maybe he'll decide to marry me then if we move in, and then you end up having that the pretend house, the pretend house marriage, and you giving that other person everything in the forms of marriage, but you don't have the actual documents of marriage, then you've created that atmosphere of dream, and you've created what you now are living, and it's not a real marriage. It's a, what do they call it in the states when you just marry, common law marriage.
Right.
You're in like what they call a common law marriage, but you want a real marriage. I think what you have to do, and I said absence make the heart grow fonder, maybe you need to pull away, back up. Maybe you need to pack your things up, get your own little place, and just separate for a while, because maybe by doing that, that other individual may miss you being around, may miss you being in the home, miss you being there at night, and miss you just being there with them, and understand. Then they may get an understanding of, you know what, maybe this marriage thing isn't so bad after all. Maybe I should go ahead and do it. And then they'll probably understand more about what marriage is. I think a lot of people end up in marital relationship types, but they're not married.
Hmm.
And it makes them uncomfortable and mad, because they don't have the ring per se, and they don't have the paperwork, and they don't have the documents of marriage. And it makes them feel sometimes that they don't feel like they're worthful to have all these things. And sometimes it could go to a point of them feeling like, why is everybody else worthy of marriage and I'm not? And it could probably make them feel down about it. But sometimes we put ourselves in that position.
Yeah, I think before you even try, or maybe if you think you want to get married, I think you should go to a marriage counselor. Not
Yeah,
not
that's
not
good.
not a pastor, somebody, a real counselor, and
Mm-hmm.
both of you say what you think or what instead of being pressured into doing something, say, okay, let's I should see if marriage is something that you'd like to enter into.
Right, right.
Mhm.
And that's the truth. You need to know what really marriage is,
Mhm.
instead of just thinking that you could just go in make it what you want it to be.
Right.
You have to really find out. I'm going to pull up the marriage definition. Marriage definition is this: a legally or formally recognized union of two people as partners in a personal relationship, historically and in some jurisdictions specifically a union between a man and a woman. So it's a union. It's you guys are coming together. You're going to live your lives as one. Thank you, Holy Spirit. When you're living your lives as one, that doesn't mean that the man could come into the marriage and the wife come into the marriage and the man say, well, I'm still going to do all the old things that I used to do as I was single, even though I'm married. Or the woman say, I'm going to still do all the things I used to do as I was single, even though I'm married. No, you're coming together as a union.
Mm-hmm.
So those old ways are passed away.
Be on one accord.
Right. And so what you're doing is when you're in a marriage, you're coming together saying, listen, I want to share the rest of my life with you, and let us do these things together. Now, mind you, you can still have friends. I'm not saying that the woman doesn't have friend, the guy doesn't have friend. We're not saying any of that. But what we're saying is that you're coming together for the unity of the two of you. And also, it's great to know that you have a partner. That's a partner that you have now that you have this relationship with. And it's a great thing. I was just thinking the other actually last night I went to lay down, and I think my husband was still in his office, and I laid down and I just had this thought of gratefulness, and I said, I'm laying here in this bed and I'm so grateful and so happy that I have a husband that's going to come in here and lay down with me, eventually when he finishes his office work. And it just brought such a happiness to me, knowing that I have somebody in the house with me. If I'm sad, I can talk to them. If I'm unhappy, I can talk to them. If I'm lonely, I have somebody there to say, listen, I'm lonely. Just having that comfort and joy to know somebody is there with me. If I want to go watch a movie, I can say, hey, babe, you want to go watch a movie? I don't have to get on my phone and call and dial and say, is somebody nearby? I have somebody, you're right, Holy Spirit. I have somebody there that I can care for. It gives you great peace to be able to care for somebody else. It does me anyway. I enjoy being able to know that, hey, somebody else is comfortable in my care and that I'm able to do for them. It just gave me just such great joy to think I've got a husband. I have a husband. It just made me so happy. The thought of knowing I have a husband, and not just a friend. A friend is one thing. Everybody needs a good friend. I say that. But to have a husband, to have that union with somebody that you, right, Holy Spirit, to have somebody that's yours. I mean, y'all just, maybe some of y'all wives out there know what I'm talking about, but that that thing hit me last night like, oh my God, just joy overwhelmed me, came over me. I was just engulfed in happiness. I just laid down in that bed and I was just like, oh man, my husband's gonna come into bed soon. He go, and it wasn't a sexual thing for some of you who may have that little perverted mind right now. It wasn't any of that. It was just, I was so grateful at that moment to know hubby's in the house.
Hubby's in the house.
Oh my gosh, that just made me so happy.
Here I am.
Exactly, there you are. But having a happy marriage is good, but it may not be for everyone. It may not be the right time for everyone. It may not be in everyone's comfort level. And I understand that. I am not one that's going to push marriage on anyone because I don't believe in doing that. I'm going to push joy and happiness on everyone and pray that everyone is happy. But you have to find what it is for you that is comfortable for you. If dating life is what you want, or you just want to be in a relationship and not have the marriage certificate, that may work for you and your significant other. I'm not pushing that away. Right? I'm not pushing that away. There are some legal reasons people don't get married, financial reasons people don't get married. And I understand that. That's your prerogative. I do ask this, that even if you don't get married, that you would please not cheat on each other. That's the one thing I ask. Because even if you're not married, if you're in a committed relationship, please stay committed to that person.
Yeah.
You know?
If you decide that that person's not for you, just let them know,
Oh
communicate
my
them,
gosh.
and you go out
Yes.
and do your thing and then separate, and so you don't hurt each other's feelings by doing
Yeah.
something in the marriage that's gonna break it up, break it apart.
Yeah. And if you're not happy in the marriage and you know that it's time for you to go and like my husband said, it may be time to walk away, or it may be time to take a break.
Yeah.
Sometimes taking a break is
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, I see a lot of people that's been married for a little while,
Yeah.
and then you hear this word, irreconcilable differences. What does that mean?
Irreconcilable differences.
Yes, so
Oh my God.
they're separating or they're dissolving the marriage because of irreconcilable
Irreconcilable differences.
irreconcilable differences.
It's just basically saying that they couldn't agree.
They can't agree with whether
Hmm.
this person wants one thing and the other person. They've been married for what, 20, 30 years,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden they can't come together
We can't get it together.
can't reconcile and do something that's gonna keep the family together or
We
something.
can't get it together. It says here in the Webster's definition, it says inability to agree on most things. Oh, this is good. Or on important things.
Hmm.
That's something.
Yeah, you see a lot of movie stars, and the actors and actresses.
Yeah.
They get married and they've been married for 20 years or so, and then
Irreconcilable
you
differences.
say, "What? These persons they get divorced after all this time
Yeah.
because of irreconcilable
Not
differences,
N, ear. It's an R.
irreconcilable differences."
Yeah. But
Okay.
they do, and basically, like the definition says, inability to agree on most things or on important things. And I think the latter part of that is really key. Or important things.
Mm-hmm.
They may have differences, but in the marriage it has become to cause a break. And where they were agreeing at one time, or you right, Holy Spirit, or just going with the process, and now one person said, I don't want to go with the process anymore, I want to do this,
Right.
and now I'm going to pull away from this marriage, and if you don't like it, then you go your way and I'm going to go my way.
Mm-hmm.
And so they do that, and it is sad when you've been married for so long and so many years, and it comes to that point where it's not reconcilable anymore. And that is a sad place to be in a relationship. I understand divorce. I've been there myself. It's a hurtful thing, but there are some irreconcilable differences that people have to go through. I've had it, so I'm not judging anybody. I do know that being able to leave the marriage or leave the relationship, um, and not harm each other on the exit process is really what can help people with the next journey of their life. Because I think some people get so hurt in the process of leaving that they become vengeful, hateful, have malice and all this kind of stuff, and it ends up going into not only their relationship with dating, but it could end up going into every other relationship in that person's life, all
Mm-hmm.
that bitterness that they carry.
Right.
Sometimes it's best to just let it go, like we said earlier on the program today, that in the old days our elders, they get married and then they wouldn't divorce, but they just separate. They never filed the divorce papers, but they just separate. And guess what, you know it was fine. They weren't trying to go after each other's lives and
Right.
all that stuff. They were just like, okay, it's not working. The family came around, where's your husband? Girl, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But it wasn't all that hatred. It wasn't all that malice. It
Right.
wasn't all that kind of stuff. I get so sad when you hear of couples who are in this domestic violence or in this kind of stuff, or worst case, people killing each other, killing their partners, and basically you
Right.
find out because they were unhappy in the marriage and they didn't know how to exit,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe somebody wouldn't allow them to exit. I really, that really, is so sad to me that that takes place. I would say to people, if you have someone, and I'm going to speak on both sides, If you have someone that does not want to stay in the marriage and you want the marriage to work, and they're constantly they're getting to the point where it's just getting ugly, and there's just a darkness in the relationship or in the household, please let that person go ahead and leave. Because even though you may fight and want them to stay, it could turn really dark. And so the best thing I would say, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a counselor and all that kind of stuff. I'm just somebody who's living my life, and I've seen some things. And I would think that it's best to let that person get their keys to go where they need to go and get their life together. And although it may hurt the person that wants them to stay, they want to stay, and you may be sad and so depressed and everything because you really wanted them to stay, it may be better that you also get what you need,
Mhm.
during the time that you guys are separated. But to get to the point where you're demanding, no, you're staying, you're not going nowhere, you're staying here, you're staying with me, and you're stalking them on their job, and you're going, everywhere they are, and you're flattening the tires on the car so they don't leave, and you locking house locks and changing door locks and all that kind of stuff. That's dangerous. That is not necessary.
Mhm.
There are billions and billions of people in this world. There's no need to go through that with one individual.
Yeah.
No
If
need.
it's not working,
No.
part ways.
Part.
What did your father had said? There's a lot more fishes in the sea.
So come on now. There's so many more fish in the sea.
Yeah.
I mean, cast your line out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You might catch the one.
Oh, I did.
What kind of fish am I? What kind of fish am I?
You're a kingfish.
Kingfish.
Hey! Kingfish over here.
You a catfish.
Y'all, did he call me a catfish?
You like catfish.
But I'm a catch.
Yeah.
But that catfish are bottom feeders, though.
You're a queen fish.
Now we're going to try and make up fish names.
Yeah, but kingfish is a fish.
Kingfish,
Yeah,
not
kingfish.
a queenfish. I know kingfish is a fish.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You're a fish, mammal, war, whatever these people be saying. But yeah, you're a kingfish. Okay, I'll be a catfish if you want me to be a catfish. But,
Or snapper.
Oh! I don't know if he went from bad to worse. I don't know what he just did with that. You went from bad to worse. I'm a snapper.
Snapper is a good tasting fish.
And a snapper is a good tasting fish. It's hard to catch. That's a good thing. Snappers are hard to catch.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were out on the boat. We were fishing. This is before I met you, and we were out on the boat fishing. And my friend, my neighbor, we took the neighbor's kid out on the boat, and he was fishing, and he had a big fish, and he was trying to reel the fish in, and he was like, "Oh, it's a heavy fish!" And all of a sudden, he had 3 hits, boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, it let go, and he was like, "Oh man, I lost my fish!" And he just started reeling this thing, and he said, "Well, something's still on here." And when he reeled it in, there was a head of a fish this big.
Wow.
The head was this big, but the rest of the fish had been bit off. And so one of the guys that was on the boat with us said, "Oh man, a snapper looked like a snapper got that, or something, or a shark or something got it." Yeah, it was, the head was like this big. He was going to reel in something big. So snappers are hard to catch. All right.
You snap her.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So I'm a snapper. He's a kingfish. All right. But to our topic, marriage may not be for everyone, but if it is for you, let God bring that man or woman to you. Listen, when I met my husband, we were going through some difficult times, each of us, in our previous marriages. We were both previously married when we met. We happened to, when we first met, we happened to both be going through divorce at the same time. We were going through divorce at the exact same time. Didn't know who he was. It wasn't like I knew him from back in the day. Never knew who he was. I ended up going to church one day, and he was there. And he was, we tell the story on one of our other shows, but he was having a sad moment, and I asked my mother and my dad, who is this gentleman, seems so sad, and they told me the story. And long story short, shortly after that, we ended up being friends, going to the same church, and ended up, our divorces came final. We waited a while after our divorce became final, because we wanted to make sure that we were right for each other. So you're right, Holy Spirit. We started out as friends. It wasn't even a relationship. It was just friends. It was just two people coming together. I'm going through a situation. You're going through the same situation. How's your situation going? How's your lawyer fees going? How's your assets going? How's my assets going? How's my lawyer situation going? What do you do when your ex did this to you or did that to you? And we're just communicating with each other on like and similar situations. And then that ended up turning into this relationship, and then ended up turning into, listen, we don't been through divorce. If we get married because I do want to have that marital household. I love having a marriage household. And if we do that, we want to make sure that it lasts, that it sticks and stays. So we sat down and we had some deep, long conversations about marriage and what we had been through and what we wanted to see our marriage to be. And we had those serious conversations,
Mm-hmm.
we had those serious talks. And then we did like our elders did. We say, let me see, will my family like you? I think my family will like you. And we did that. And we also did the meeting of the families.
Yep.
We did all of that.
The old fashioned way. Yeah?
We did it. We did, didn't we? We did it the old-fashioned way. And I believe that after we got our parents' blessings for us to actually date, because we got our parents' blessings to date first. We didn't even get our parents' blessings first to marry. We got our parents' permission to date. His mom and her sisters, and my mom and dad, we got their permission to date. And then after that, we got their permission also to marry, and they gave us blessings on both parts.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sticking and staying. And it's a joy. It's a joy for us. It is.
Joy, 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 down in your heart.
Down in your heart.
Yes, sir.
Down in your soul. I hope that marriage is for you. And I pray again that if marriage is for you, that you would find the right one and you would have a joyful, happy marriage just like us. But also, if you don't have the will or want to get married and you just want to have that relationship with someone, then go ahead and find it. And I pray that you find the right person for that as well. Because we just want everybody to be happy in relationships as well. Not just marriage, but in relationships in general. My grandmother has a book that she wrote, and it's a beautiful book. And I believe that you all would get some knowledge out of this book. And this book is so wonderful that I've decided to give these away for free. My grandmother has a book, and the title is We Made a Vow, To God Be the Glory. This is a book on screen for my Instagram people here. This is a book. This book was written by my grandmother. She tells of her journey with my grandfather and their marriage, what they went through. They were married only one time. Not several, just one time to one another. And they also stayed married for 60 years. They never filed for divorce, never even thought of divorce. Divorce wasn't in their vocabulary. They decided to make their marriage work. And I believe that through their trials and tests and tribulations and everything that came along with it,
Mm-hmm.
I think it all just strengthened the marriage between the two.
Right.
And so this book is free for you. If you would like to have your free copy, just go ahead and inbox me. I'll make sure that you get your copy. We cover shipping and handling as well. So you don't have to pay for anything. All you have to do is let us know where you would like the information sent to, and we'll send it directly to you free of charge. It's packed with information. It's not only for married people, but it's also a relationship builder to help you with the relationship that you might have with the person that you want to spend your life with. All right. So I hope you've enjoyed today's program. Listen, if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button, because we want you to know when we go live, because we're going to be sharing some impactful information on this channel to help you with not only your relationship, but also help you with your self-esteem and bring your joy back. Listen, there's a lot of people that have lost their joy, and it's about time y'all get it back.
Amen.
We've got so many other things that's coming on this channel. You're going to love it. So if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. Go on over there to our brand, The Juice Radio and Talk Show. Make sure you subscribe over there because we're about to do some mighty, mighty good things on this channel. We're in the building process. And I believe that if you wait too late, you might not be able to get that membership. You know,
Can't get a room.
Go ahead and get on in there now. You know, like those major corporations, when they start off small. And then they have a few people join them. Mm-hmm. And they get big. And then all of a sudden, everybody want to join. And all of a sudden, there comes a lock on it. You can't get in. So we want you to go ahead and get in from the ground up, okay? And it's going to be easier for you because there may come a time when we may have to charge for people to be subscribers. And all the people that are already subscribed, we want to make sure that they get in free for right now, okay? I mean, I'm just prophesying because I know God's going to make it happen. Amen. Channel's growing. This one's going to do the same thing. And it's not just for us. It's because we give God all the glory, all the praise, all the honor, all the acknowledgement. And we love to share that information with you. Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm saying good morning. Good afternoon, Kelly. How you doing? She says, I'm here today. Condoleezza is not around this weekend. That's okay. I understand Condoleezza is out there. She is busy. She's on our personal page there, and she is great. Thank you so much, Kelly, for being here today. Be blessed, be happy, and be anointed in Jesus' name. All right. Thank y'all again for joining the channel. We're getting ready to go and spend some time with family, because it's almost time for my sister's birthday. Yay!
Yeah.
That means food for him. Means food for him.
We got to cook. Cook. Oh.
I can't with you. I can't. All right, we love y'all for joining the program today, and we're so happy and excited y'all were here. Y'all go out there and have a blessed day today, okay? Share this video with others. Make sure y'all have a blessed weekend. See y'all next week. Bye.